Think Gen Z always wins at fitness. Think again. Cines are stepping up, crushing challenges, and proving age is just a number. The results will shock you. For years, we've been told that youth equals power, speed, and stamina. The young body is supposedly unbeatable, fueled by endless energy, fast recovery, and time on its side. Meanwhile, cines are often underestimated, painted as fragile, stiff, or too slow to compete. But new research and real-life challenges are turning that stereotype upside down. In fact, in certain fitness competitions, cines are not just keeping up, they are winning. So how is this possible? And what does science reveal about strength, endurance, and performance across generations? Let's break it down. The myth of youthful supremacy. When we think of fitness challenges, whether it's push-up contests, marathon running, or lifting weights, our instincts tell us younger bodies should have the edge. And in some respects, that's true. Gen Z, roughly aged 12 to 27 today, generally has better maximum oxygen uptake, known as VO max, faster recovery after high-intensity bursts, and more flexibility. These are biological advantages of youth. Hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and growth factors are typically at their peak, which helps with building muscle and recovering faster. But here's the twist. Fitness is not just biology. It's also about consistency, discipline, resilience, and mental endurance. And that's why cines bring a hidden weapon to the table. The senior advantage, experience meets discipline. Cines, those aged 60 and above, often surprise in fitness challenges because of one simple truth. Many have spent years training, eating mindfully, and maintaining consistent habits. Unlike the yo-yo fitness approach younger people often fall into, going hard for a few weeks, then burning out, older adults who are still active have built up decades of durability. Studies show that cines who train regularly maintain muscle mass at much higher levels than expected. Resistance training, even in your 70s or 80s, can increase muscle size and strength almost as effectively as in younger populations. This means a 65-year-old who has been lifting weights for 30 years may outperform a 22-year-old who just started. And endurance. Cines often dominate ultramarathons, those 50-plus mile races, because endurance is about efficiency, pacing, and mental toughness more than raw speed. In fact, runners in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s consistently finish among the top in these extreme endurance events. Why? They've trained their bodies to conserve energy, avoid injury, and outlast the competition. Surprising head-to-head results. Let's look at some real-world evidence. In plank challenges, cines sometimes outshine the young. Why? Core stability and mental grit improve with training. A 60-year-old yoga practitioner may hold a plank for 5 minutes, while a Gen Z novice collapses after one. In weightlifting, records exist of men and women in their 70s deadlifting twice their body weight, outperforming gym-going 20-year-olds. In long-distance swimming and cycling, cines dominate masters categories, often beating times set by competitors decades younger. One famous case is Ed Whitlock, a Canadian marathoner who ran a marathon in under 3 hours at the age of 70. That's a pace most young runners can only dream of. So when we put cines and Gen Z head-to-head, it's not a guaranteed win for youth. In fact, the longer the challenge or the more discipline required, the more likely cines are to surprise. The science behind ageless fitness. But how do cines keep up physiologically? Here's where it gets fascinating. Muscle preservation through training. While muscle naturally declines with age, a process called sarcopenia, regular strength training slows this dramatically. Research shows cines who lift weights can maintain 70 to 80% of their peak muscle strength well into their 70s. That's enough to compete with many untrained younger adults. Endurance and the slow-twitch advantage. Cines often develop more slow-twitch muscle fibers through years of endurance activities like cycling or walking. These fibers are built for long, steady exertion rather than sprints. That's why cines sometimes beat Gen Z in long-distance fitness challenges. Mind over muscle. Fitness isn't only physical, it's mental. Cines who face challenges in life often display higher pain tolerance, patience, and pacing strategies. Where a Gen Z athlete might sprint and burn out, a senior paces, persists, and finishes strong. Recovery habits. Older athletes tend to respect recovery, stretching, hydration, sleep, and balanced nutrition, while younger participants may underestimate these factors. This smarter recovery often translates into stronger performance across multiple challenges. The bigger picture: fitness at any age. The biggest takeaway: fitness isn't about beating the other generation, it's about breaking stereotypes. For Gen Z, seeing Cines excel can be a wake-up call. Health is a lifelong commitment, not just a temporary project. For Cines, it's proof that age doesn't mean decline, it can mean strength, wisdom, and resilience. So the next time you assume a 20-year-old will out-push-up, out-squat, or outrun someone in their 60s, remember this: the body doesn't think aging means losing your strength. Think again. Science shows Cines can actually build muscle at rates that rival, or even surpass, younger athletes. Yes, you read that right. The so-called weaker generation may hold the secret to power, endurance, and resilience that shocks everyone watching. Breaking the weak with age myth. For decades, people believed muscle loss after 50 was inevitable. Terms like frail, fragile, and past your prime became almost automatic whenever older adults were mentioned in health conversations. And while it's true that without exercise, muscle naturally declines with age, up to 1 to 2% per year after 50, the key word is without exercise. New studies reveal a completely different reality. Cines who train their bodies, especially with resistance and strength-based exercise, not only preserve their muscle mass but also grow it significantly. The myth that only young people can gain strength is crumbling fast. The physiology of senior strength. So how do Cines keep their muscles alive and kicking? The answer lies in understanding how the body adapts. 1. Muscle fiber retention and recruitment. Muscle fibers come in two main types: fast twitch, power, speed, and slow twitch, endurance, stability. With age, the body tends to lose more fast twitch fibers, which explains why sprinting and explosive movements may decline. But here's the twist: Cines don't lose all those fibers. With proper training, they can recruit dormant ones and even increase the size of remaining fibers. 2. Neurological efficiency. Strength isn't just about muscle, it's about the brain. The nervous system controls how effectively muscles are activated. Cines who practice weight training sharpen these neurological connections, making muscle contractions more efficient. In some cases, this neural improvement compensates for smaller muscle size, leading to surprising gains in strength. 3. The anabolic response. Here's where science gets fascinating. Cines respond strongly to strength training because their bodies crave stimulation. When they lift weights or perform resistance exercises, their muscles send powerful signals to adapt, sometimes producing dramatic growth, especially if they were sedentary before. It's almost like a second puberty for muscles. Real-world evidence: Cines getting stronger. Want proof? Let's look at a few real-world cases. Joan McDonald, now in her 70s, transformed her body through strength training. She went from struggling with stairs to deadlifting weights heavier than women half her age. Her story has inspired millions. Charles Youngster, a British doctor, began bodybuilding in his 80s. By 96, he was competing in sprint races and had a physique that stunned spectators. In clinical studies, Cines aged 65 to 80 who began lifting weights 3 times per week increased their strength by up to 200% within a year, outpacing some young trainees in relative growth. These are not outliers. They are proof that with consistency, Cines can thrive. The nutrition factor: fueling ageless strength. Muscle gains aren't just about lifting weights. They are about fueling the body correctly. Cines who outperform younger challengers often have a strategic approach to nutrition. Protein power: older adults need more protein than Gen Z. Research shows Cines may need 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight daily to maximize muscle repair. That's higher than the standard 0.8 g per kilogram often cited. Leucine trigger: a specific amino acid, leucine, found in eggs, chicken, and legumes, is especially powerful at stimulating muscle protein synthesis in older adults. Vitamin D and calcium: strong muscles need strong bones, and these nutrients ensure skeletal health keeps up with training. Hydration: Cines often underestimate hydration, but water intake significantly boosts performance and recovery. Combine these with regular resistance exercise, and the results can be shocking. The mental edge: why Cines stick with it. Beyond physiology and nutrition, Cines have another advantage: mindset. Gen Z often chases quick results, viral fitness trends, 30-day challenges, or extreme diets. Cines, however, tend to value consistency. They've learned patience, resilience, and discipline through life experience. This mental edge is critical in fitness, where progress happens gradually. Studies show that older adults who exercise regularly are less likely to quit than younger participants. They see training not as a short-term project, but as a lifestyle. And this long-haul commitment often translates into superior results. The medical surprise: training as a fountain of youth. Doctors used to warn Cines to take it easy. But now, physicians are prescribing exercise like medicine. Why? Because strength training not only builds muscle, it rewinds aspects of aging. Blood sugar control: lifting weights improves insulin sensitivity, lowering the risk of diabetes. Cardiovascular health: strength work supports heart function and reduces blood pressure. Bone density: resistance training prevents osteoporosis, reducing fracture risk. Brain health: exercise boosts memory and lowers dementia risk by improving blood flow to the brain. In short, when Cines train, they don't just get stronger, they get healthier, sharper, and more resilient. Cines versus Gen Z, the muscle showdown. Let's imagine a challenge: a Gen Z competitor who's fit but inconsistent versus a senior who's trained steadily for years. Who wins in a push-up contest? Who outperforms in deadlifts? Surprisingly, the senior often comes out on top. Why? Because years of training engrave movement patterns deeply into the body. Their push-ups are efficient, their lifts precise, and their stamina finely tuned. On the flip side, if the Gen Z participant is highly trained, they may outpace the senior in raw speed or maximum power. But in real-world fitness challenges that demand endurance, control, and grit, the match is far closer than most people expect. The takeaway: the science of aging muscles proves one thing loud and clear: Cines are not destined for weakness. With the right combination of resistance training, nutrition, and mindset, they can build strength that rivals, or even surpasses, younger competitors. This isn't just about bragging rights. It's about dismantling stereotypes, showing that fitness has no expiration date, and proving that human potential doesn't fade, it evolves. And this sets the stage for the next chapter. In Part 3, we'll explore endurance, the secret weapon of Cines, and why, in long-haul fitness challenges, age might actually be an advantage. Think Gen Z has endless energy. Think again. While younger bodies may sprint ahead, Cines are proving they can go the distance, and sometimes that makes all the difference. In long-haul fitness challenges, age isn't a weakness. It's an advantage. The endurance paradox. At first glance, endurance seems like a young person's game. After all, youth is associated with high metabolism, fast recovery, and explosive energy. But endurance, the ability to sustain physical effort over long periods, depends on far more than raw energy. Endurance is about efficiency, consistency, and mental toughness. These are qualities that Cines have cultivated through decades of movement, training, and life itself. And when the stopwatch stretches into hours, Cines often outlast their younger challengers. The science of senior stamina. Let's break down why older adults can thrive in endurance competitions. 1. Slow-twitch muscle mastery. Muscles are made of two main fibers. Fast-twitch fibers for speed and explosive power. Slow-twitch fibers for long-term, steady exertion. As people age, they naturally lose some fast-twitch fibers, but retain and even strengthen slow-twitch ones through consistent activity. Cines who walk, cycle, or swim daily have developed slow-twitch dominance, giving them a natural edge in endurance tasks. 2. Metabolic efficiency. Younger athletes often rely heavily on carbohydrates and burn through energy quickly. Cines, through years of aerobic activity, train their bodies to use fat more efficiently as fuel. This means they can sustain energy levels longer without crashing, a major asset in marathons, triathlons, or cycling events. 3. Joint wisdom and injury avoidance. Gen Z challengers may push too hard, too soon. Cines tend to know their bodies better, pacing themselves wisely and avoiding injuries. Smart pacing is often the difference between finishing and dropping out. 4. Mental grit. Endurance isn't just physical, it's psychological. Cines have decades of practice dealing with discomfort, boredom, and stress. Where a Gen Z participant may mentally check out after 45 minutes, a senior stays calm, steady, and determined. Case studies: Cines who outlast the young. Ed Whitlock, already mentioned in Part 1, became legendary for his marathon feats. At age 70, he ran a marathon in under 3 hours. Most Gen Z runners will never touch that pace. Diana Nyad swam from Cuba to Florida at age 64, enduring 53 hours in shark-infested waters without a protective cage. Talk about endurance. In ultramarathon events, participants in their 50s and 60s consistently place in the top 10%. Why? Because endurance racing rewards patience, pacing, and efficiency, not youthful speed bursts. These examples aren't flukes. They are proof that endurance thrives with age. The brain-body connection. Endurance is as much about the brain as it is about muscles. Cines often display lower perceived exertion. They interpret physical stress as manageable, not overwhelming. Better focus, years of meditation, mindfulness, or even simple life experience help them stay present and committed. Stronger motivation. Many older adults exercise for health, longevity, or personal milestones, not social media likes or competition. This deeper purpose fuels persistence. Training techniques that give Cines the edge. It's not just biology, it's training. Cines often follow regimens that emphasize steady progress and sustainability. Zone 2 cardio, training at a moderate pace that burns fat and builds aerobic capacity. Cines who spend hours walking, cycling, or hiking build powerful endurance engines. Consistency over intensity. Gen Z might crush one intense workout and then rest for 3 days. Cines are more likely to exercise moderately every day. That consistency compounds over time. Active recovery. Older athletes respect recovery, yoga, stretching, and sleep, which keeps them going longer than younger, burnout-prone competitors. Nutrition, the fuel for the long haul. Endurance isn't possible without the right fuel, and Cines often excel here, too. Balanced diets. Many older adults stick to time-tested nutrition, whole foods, lean proteins, complex carbs, rather than extreme fad diets. Electrolyte management. Cines who've trained for years understand hydration and electrolyte balance, reducing cramps and fatigue. Steady energy sources. They often rely on sustained fuel, oatmeal, nuts, bananas, instead of quick sugar fixes that lead to energy crashes. Cines versus Gen Z in endurance challenges. Picture this: a push-up contest may favor Gen Z in sheer explosiveness. But stretch it into a plank endurance test or a 10K run, and the playing field flips. Cines' efficient pacing and slow-twitch dominance kick in, while the Gen Z participant struggles to maintain output. Even in gym settings, a senior who trains consistently may cycle for 90 minutes with ease, while a younger participant burns out after 30. The difference: endurance is built over time, not overnight. The longevity link. Perhaps the most important takeaway: endurance training is tied directly to longevity. Cines who engage in regular aerobic activity reduce their risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and even certain cancers. They also maintain cognitive function, mobility, and independence. In this way, endurance isn't just about outlasting Gen Z in a challenge, it's about outlasting disease, decline, and dependency. Cines aren't just winning competitions. They are winning at life, redefining fitness success. So, can Cines beat Gen Z at endurance? Absolutely. But the bigger point is this: fitness isn't about one-off contests. It's about resilience, sustainability, and health. Cines prove that fitness can actually improve with age, not fade away. And this sets the stage for Part 4, where we'll examine the recovery game, why Cines often outsmart Gen Z in healing, rest, and preventing burnout, and how this gives them a major advantage in fitness longevity. Think younger athletes bounce back faster. Think again. While Gen Z might shake off soreness after a night's sleep, Cines have mastered recovery in a way that gives them the ultimate edge: consistency, longevity, and resilience. Fitness isn't just about how hard you train, it's about how smart you recover. And this is where Cines often outplay the younger generation. The hidden power of recovery. Recovery is more than rest. It's the biological reset that allows muscles to rebuild, the nervous system to recharge, and the mind to sharpen. Without recovery, training backfires, leading to injuries, burnout, or chronic fatigue. Here's the irony. Gen Z often underestimates recovery. With social media pushing grind culture and high-intensity workouts, many younger people treat rest as weakness. Cines, on the other hand, view it as strategy. They know that what happens between workouts matters as much as the workouts themselves. The science of healing with age. Physiologically, cines do face challenges: slower tissue repair, reduced hormone levels, and longer recovery times compared to youth. But instead of being a disadvantage, this forces older athletes to prioritize smarter recovery habits that end up making them more sustainable performers. 1. Smarter rest cycles. Where a 22-year-old might push through soreness, a senior knows when to back off. This prevents overtraining and builds long-term progress. 2. Hormonal adaptations. While growth hormone and testosterone decline with age, research shows that resistance training boosts natural production, even in seniors. Recovery routines that include rest days and proper sleep maximize these benefits. 3. Inflammation management. Chronic inflammation increases with age, but seniors who focus on anti-inflammatory foods, hydration, and recovery techniques often manage it better than younger counterparts relying on fast food and energy drinks. Recovery strategies that give seniors the edge. 1. Sleep as training. Seniors who thrive in fitness prioritize high-quality sleep. Deep sleep is when growth hormone spikes, repairing muscle tissue. Unlike Gen Z, who may sacrifice rest for late-night scrolling, older adults often treat sleep as sacred. 2. Active recovery. Instead of collapsing on the couch, many seniors use walking, yoga, tai chi, or swimming as gentle recovery methods. This keeps blood flowing, reduces stiffness, and accelerates healing. 3. Mobility and flexibility work. Seniors tend to integrate stretching, foam rolling, or mobility drills into their routines. Gen Z often skips this step, leading to tightness and injury. 4. Mind-body techniques. Meditation, breathwork, and relaxation exercises are more common among seniors. These reduce stress hormones like cortisol, which otherwise delay recovery. Nutrition. Recovery from the inside out. Recovery is not just physical rest, it's also cellular repair, fueled by nutrition. Seniors who take recovery seriously often outsmart Gen Z with their dietary discipline. Protein timing. Seniors emphasize post-workout protein intake to maximize muscle synthesis. Anti-inflammatory foods, berries, leafy greens, omega-3 rich fish, all staples in many senior diets, reduce inflammation and speed healing. Hydration and electrolytes. Many younger athletes overlook hydration until it's too late. Seniors who pace themselves in fitness challenges are often better at balancing fluids and electrolytes. Supplements. Seniors often rely on clinically proven support like vitamin D, magnesium, or collagen, which aid recovery. Mental recovery, the overlooked advantage. The body isn't the only system that needs recovery, the brain does too. And seniors often excel here. Stress management. With decades of perspective, seniors are less likely to get derailed by minor setbacks. They recover emotionally faster than Gen Z, who may internalize failure. Focus on enjoyment. Seniors tend to exercise for joy and health rather than external validation. This positive outlook reduces psychological burnout. Consistency mindset. Instead of chasing short-term results, seniors recover with the long view in mind: tomorrow, next month, next decade. Case studies. The recovery edge in action. Master athletes in track and field. Research shows older competitors often maintain higher participation rates because they avoid overtraining injuries that sideline younger athletes. Endurance races. Seniors frequently pace themselves wisely, then recover faster post-event due to strict routines, while Gen Z participants may spend weeks nursing injuries. Everyday warriors. Seniors who commit to lifelong recovery habits often outperform younger people in fitness consistency, able to train 5 days a week for decades, while youth burn out after a few intense months. Seniors versus Gen Z, recovery showdown. Imagine two athletes. A Gen Z competitor goes hard every day, fueled by caffeine and adrenaline, but ignores sleep, nutrition, and rest. A senior competitor trains 4 times per week, gets 8 hours of sleep, hydrates, eats anti-inflammatory foods, and meditates. Who's more likely to still be training strong 6 months later? The senior. And in the long game, consistency always beats intensity. Recovery as the fountain of longevity. Perhaps the biggest insight, recovery doesn't just aid fitness, it promotes longevity. Cines who master recovery protect themselves against chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension, injury risks like joint breakdown and muscle tears, cognitive decline, as recovery habits boost brain health. By treating recovery as essential, Cines not only compete with Gen Z, but also set themselves up for decades of vitality, redefining what it means to rest. The old stereotype painted Cines as resting too much. But the truth is, Cines have redefined rest, not as inactivity, but as active preparation for greater performance. They've turned recovery into a competitive advantage, proving that knowing when not to train is as powerful as knowing how to train. And this brings us to the final part of our series. In Part 5, we'll explore the future of fitness. Can Cines lead the next generation? Where we'll see how Cines aren't just keeping up with Gen Z, they are teaching them how to thrive for life. Think the future of fitness belongs only to the young? Think again. Cines are rewriting the rules, not just competing with Gen Z, but teaching them what fitness really means: resilience, balance, and lifelong vitality. The next era of health may not be led by the digital natives at all. It may be powered by the wisdom and strength of the silver generation. From competitors to leaders. We've spent the last 4 parts breaking down how Cines surprise everyone in fitness challenges, outmuscling expectations, outlasting Gen Z in endurance, and outsmarting them in recovery. But now comes the bigger question. What if Cines aren't just keeping up, but actually leading the way? For decades, the fitness industry has idolized youth, six-pack abs, explosive workouts, and high-intensity everything. But as science and real-world results show, sustainable health is about more than raw energy. Cines embody this truth. They are living examples of how to train not for a month or a season, but for life. The longevity blueprint. Cines offer Gen Z something priceless, a blueprint for long-term health. 1. Consistency over intensity. Young athletes may burn bright, but Cines show that steady, moderate training across decades leads to stronger outcomes than short bursts of extreme effort. 2. Holistic health. Where Gen Z might focus on aesthetics, muscle definition, body shape, Cines train for function, mobility, strength, endurance, and independence. This functional fitness approach ensures health carries into everyday life. 3. Integration of mind and body. Cines embrace practices like Tai Chi, yoga, or mindful walking. These don't just enhance flexibility, they reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and sharpen cognition. Gen Z can learn that true fitness isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional too. Technology meets tradition. Here's where the story gets interesting. Gen Z may have youthful energy, but Cines are increasingly tapping into technology, wearables, apps, and even virtual trainers to enhance their training. The fusion of traditional discipline with modern tools is creating a new hybrid model of fitness. Wearables track heart rate, sleep, and recovery, data Cines can use to fine-tune performance. Virtual classes allow Cines to join group yoga, Pilates, or strength training from home. Telemedicine ensures they train safely with medical guidance. Meanwhile, Gen Z, though surrounded by tech, often lacks the patience to interpret or use it effectively. Cines' wisdom allows them to apply these tools for maximum benefit. Redefining role models. In a world obsessed with influences and viral challenges, Cines are emerging as unlikely, but powerful role models. They are showing millions online that aging isn't decline, it's potential. Consider the rise of senior fitness icons on social media, men and women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s deadlifting, sprinting, or practicing advanced yoga poses. Their videos inspire not just other Cines, but also younger viewers who suddenly realize fitness doesn't have an expiration date. This role model effect is critical. It shifts cultural narratives away from fitness is for the young to fitness is forever. Intergenerational fitness, a new movement. The most exciting future trend.